So the creative space is an interesting space because like I'm more on the business side of things. Okay. So like if you start a business, you know what you're doing, you sell a product, you make money. Like I mean, whether it's $1, $2, you make money. So you have a level of momentum that you can mentally go, okay, this is working. The creative world, like to take this podcast for example, we could do this for God knows how many years and not see anything, right? And that's a same thing when it comes to athletes, same thing when it comes to actors. Sure, in your journey too, same thing where you're like, okay, because like Hollywood's a very, very competitive space. Yeah. So I'm a bit curious from your perspective, what are some like, I would say like mind tricks that you might have to put yourself through in this journey to like keep going? I'm not going to really ask you how do you keep motivation high because I don't like, that's all, it's like the typical stuff that you see on the internet. I'm more so just like curious on the mindset that you have to wake up and tell yourself, okay, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep attacking this, even though you're not necessarily at that big superstar that you're trying to achieve or become. Right. And especially, I see this happen to some people, especially since you've seen it. Like you've guarded famous people.
Oh yeah.
So you've seen the fame, you've felt it, you've touched it, you've smelled it. I don't know if it's ever hit you where you're like, oh, when is it going to be my turn?
Right.
But I'm a bit curious to hear your thoughts on that.
I look at it like building a house. Like each thing that I'm a part of creatively is building this home that ultimately is going to be the the space where I'll have my career. And, I'm not thinking of it in terms of blowing up or becoming famous. I'm thinking of it in terms of constantly working on creative objectives, right? So, I have an audition, I get the audition, I go to the audition, casting office, or I do it at home. That's a creative block that I've made. That's a creative brick that I've made. I'm working on a script that I'm doing, and I want to budget, produce, obviously finance and co-direct. That's a creative space. And each of these things that I've been a part of is going to ultimately build this house that I want to be built. Now, it's going to be different than a Will Smith. It'll be different than a Denzel Washington or a Michael B. Jordan. It's not the same for everybody. It's my lane. I'm building and creating my lane. And I don't want their fame. I don't want Will Smith's fame. I don't want Denzel Washington's fame.
You definitely don't want Will Smith.
You know what? No, I'm going to say something, man. I want to say something about that because it's important that I say this because it recently happened. And I think it's good to talk about because of everything that's going on. I was at a restaurant with a friend of mine, and we're sitting there and we're eating. It was in Santa Monica. And I'm looking behind her, and I say, that's Will Smith, Michael B. Jordan behind you. She's like, no way. I'm like, no. I know who they are. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go say hi to him. Walk past security, which I shouldn't have done, but I used to do security, and I know your peripheral vision you don't always see. You're looking straight ahead at people on the beach near the park of the beach area. I'm drawing a blank on where it is in Santa Monica, but they weren't even looking at me, and I walk up to Will Smith and I said, "Sir, I'm a huge fan of your work. Thank you so much." And he graciously shook my hand and gave me a hug, and there was a certain kind of glow about him. There was this openness to this cat. It was refreshing. I've seen a lot of famous folks. There's some kind of guarding thing that happens when you get to that level. Mm-hmm. There's certain kinds of, I live in this, encaved place where I have a gated, community and a gated home and guards surrounding me. And, I don't know you like that. Got to talk to my security first. He was so open. You know what that means? That man's put work in. That's what that means. That means that man has gone places, reflected on himself, reflected on his actions, and he's put work in to be a better individual for a random guy, right, that is a muscular dude. I'm tatted up. I'm like, he could be like, hey, man, who are you? Or had a security on me. He embraced me, And Michael B. Jordan embraced me, but it was a little different of embrace. I appreciate his embrace, but it was different. And it's only because you have a guy who's gone through so much and has had to reflect. And I think it's a true testament to mistakes that we make. No one in this room is innocent of making mistakes and having to learn from them and reflect on them. Some may be bigger than others, but a mistake is a mistake. And an outburst is an outburst, and we're all men, and we've all had those things happen to us at some point in our life.
I think too, it's easy to sit from this perspective and go like, oh, those guys, on TV, blah blah blah. Like I always try to think like if I had a camera on my life 24/7, oh geez, right. I'd probably be like in jail right now for the things that I've probably done.
The heck are you doing?
No, not committing crimes. No, I don't do any of that stuff. I'm just saying like in an extreme sense, like we've all made mistakes, like we've all done certain things. Said certain things to certain friends that were like, hey, I don't know if I like that, or like done certain things with certain people. I'm like, hey, I'm not sure if I want to be around
certain group chats.
Huh?
Certain group chats.
What group chats?
No, I'm just saying.
Group chats. Yeah.
You might have said something in the group chat that, shouldn't go public.
Speaking of group chats, did you guys hear about the whole, I know this is a complete sidetrack, but the Microsoft thing with Xbox Live? I don't know if they still went through with it, but I think beginning of last year, they were talking about how they're going to start releasing like game chat audio to like the feds. So and if they find that you're saying anything that's bad or whatever, they're gonna block you or ban you off the game.
Well, we're living in a cancel culture type world. We're living in a very delicate world, and I think it's important for us to highlight people who have made drastic changes because they only have one mouth. And it's important for other people who have seen things. And I don't know the man like that. I'm not in his camp. I don't know, but I do know energy because I'm a guard. And one thing that guards know is I can sense when I see you how you're going to be when you walk in just by how you're walking and your body language and your facial expressions. I know that. Yeah,
it's funny. I was going to say something about that. I feel like Will Smith was so receptive to you because he felt that energy. Mm-hmm. You know, when someone walks up, as you said, man, it's sometimes you just get some sort of feeling from a person that you just cannot explain.
I think what? Back to what we were saying. I don't even know if we started the podcast by saying it, but it was just like the whole idea of the lack of human interactions nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's just everything is so superficial. And then back to what you were saying.
Guys like that too.
Yeah. Back to what you were saying. It's like their whole life is under a microscope, so it's like you get tired of it after a while. Mm-hmm. So when something genuine comes up, and then just a real handshake feels good every once in a while.
Yeah. So that was basically what I wanted to say regarding that, man. So obviously we can all joke around about certain things, and I completely understand that no one's perfect, right? We all messed up. No one's in a way today infallible, right? And it's really easy to point fingers at a whole bunch of people and certain things, but with regards to Will Smith and all seriousness, the man has classics on classics on classics, right? So from obviously my favorite is Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, to his rapping career, to his acting career, with movies. I love I Am Legend. It's one of my favorite movies. And so on and so forth, but it's no one's gonna be perfect. So I feel when you are under constant surveillance, people are trying to. People look up to you. People want to be in your position. People want your life. People want your money. People want your status. People want your clout. And I feel those people are not living the most satisfied life anymore. Meaning the very, very famous celebrities, because everything is judgment. Everyone has an opinion on every single thing that you say. Everything. You wore something that I didn't like. The homie might be like, "Oh, that was pretty fresh." I'd be like, "Nah, his shoes didn't match his this and that. Something stupid. Or he ordered this, but he should have ordered that." Everyone has an opinion on you, but it's constant. It's constant judgment.
I'll take it a step further with that, because I'm not gonna obviously talk about specific people or names or whatever, but I know for a fact that a lot of these people who are an entity that is a celebrity, entertainer, what have you, they're employing a lot of people, right? Yeah. They are their business, right? So they're responsible for salaries, they're responsible for livelihoods, they're responsible for, other people's children, they're responsible for all those things. And I don't know if we sometimes factor that aspect of it in. Right? We just see somebody who's snobby and stuck up and doesn't want to take a picture. We see somebody who lives in this entrapped community and doesn't want to go out because of being bombarded by a bunch of fans. We don't realize that there's a high in certain places. There's a high, probability that they would kidnap them or try to take their kids or try to use them as clout to murder them and say, look what I did to so and so and so forth. And that their guarding is due to protecting their empire and their structure and their livelihoods for not only themselves, but for other people to keep this thing going. Because outside of them, if they have businesses, other entities, sometimes that's all they have, So there's other aspects of it that I don't think we always understand. And having privilege to have, been a guard for some of these people, I see it from a different lens than what other people do, looking at tabloids or watching stuff on YouTube or what have you. I see it from the practicality of, I got to protect myself. So I hire people to protect me and things of that sort. The human aspect is another thing. That people, your income, what you're getting is attributed to people paying money for your shows, your films, the things that you're on. And so there needs to be a little bit of appreciation and gratitude along with that too. So trying to balance that out isn't always easy. Some people are good at doing it, and that takes work. Some people not so much, because you have, folks that, get taken advantage of and things of that sort. That's why people you associate be very careful with. That's why, knowing energy, knowing the kind of people you have around you, are they good people? Because how many followers you have, how much money you have, doesn't mean you're a good person and you're good for me, And I think that that's something that we kind of lose sight on.